Hello, everybody. Welcome to a seat at the table impromptu edition. um, I am not talking about any legal stuff tonight, unless y'all just want to. I am here because y'all are my family, and I have done a thing. And when you do something big, or not big, but big to you, you run and tell your family. You want them to know. And so I wanted to come and let you guys know that I have completed this book that I've been talking about writing. I have written it, I have completed it, and I have released it. And it is coming out next week on Wednesday. What would have been my husband and I, our 20th wedding anniversary. The book is a memoir. I started out writing a book about my whole life, and my editor, who was amazing, was like, that's great. The story is this grief. The story is this process that you've gone through. It's what's been going on in your life and how you've overcome it. And so we ended up condensing our story, or my story, down to that, to talk about the past 4 years, approaching 4 years since my husband's passing. And I take you back to the beginning of our relationship and how we met and the impact he had on me in my early stages of this business, which is now 19 years old. I know that because my child is 19. And I bring you back up through how almost 4 years from the last time I heard his voice, I still hear his voice in my ear. And a saying that he used to say, or he said it really once, but I carried it with me. And I say it all the time is, do what you know how to do. When you're faced with a dilemma, you need to revamp, you need to rejigger yourself. Make a list of the things you're good at, figure out what you know how to do and do that. And what you don't know how to do, learn how to do that, put the two together, you have the whole thing, and you can do anything if you just start with what you know how to do. And I have operated like that, and it has served me well. I have never gone without, because I have a list of things I know how to do, and if one isn't working, I jump over to the other. Sometimes I'm in 5 or 6 of them, even when one is working, right? So I just, it was, with what we went through, and if anybody wants to come on as I move into this topic, I don't have an agenda tonight. I just wanted to, like I said, talk to y'all and engage with y'all. And I know a lot of you have texted me and there's messages, and I'm not ignoring you. I'm gonna get back to everybody as well. But I've been on live ever since 8 o'clock, 7:30 really, but I had to get in here at the table with you guys and just get this off my chest. Because I don't know how many of you have written books. I've never written a book. I've written songs, I've written poems, I've drawn pictures, but I've never written a book. And it was cathartic. It was healing. It allowed me to look back over my life, a portion of my life, and see, holy crap, how did I get through this? This is a mess. But when I'm living it, I was just, okay, this check, gotta get this done, okay, make sure you're okay, everybody okay. I didn't have time to stop and think about what all I was juggling. And I probably don't even think about it now, all the things that I'm doing and at a high level and holding so many people, in my hands. But writing it down and reading it back, and I'm like, good God, he sustained me, because there's no way that I walked through all of that and didn't even realize it. I won't say didn't even feel it, because I felt it, but I didn't even realize how much was going on at all times until I look back at this. So I don't know, like I said, if any of you have written books, if you want to come on and talk process, I can send you the link to join me. If anybody is this, I'll tell you who this book is for. And I know I sound like I'm like Jada Pinkett trying to sell books, but I'm not actually, because I didn't want to write this story, because this is a very personal story, and I didn't want to tell my business or my husband's business because we're private people. But at the same time, I know that I didn't go through all of this, and everybody involved didn't go through all of this just for us to get through it. I know that we're supposed to, or at least me, because one thing I did with this story, and everybody who's on here that will read this, hey, mama, thank you, love you, see you Friday. Everybody that's on here that will read this and is a part of my life, you're in the story. Your name might not be there. You know who you are when you show up, because I'm telling this from my perspective. I'm not in a position, it's not my place to tell anybody else's story but mine, right? That's the story God gave me. That's the walk I had. So other people have different versions, maybe even of this story. Nobody knows a lot of the stuff that's in this book. No, my husband and I weren't separated for 7 years like Jada and Will or whatever, but nobody knows some of the things that went on getting through to this side of the new normal. And somebody out there is going through something like whatever I went through, and it's going to give them, I hope. My prayer is that it gives them the motivation and the encouragement to keep going. The only way out is through. If you stop in the middle of the mess, it's going to get on you. But if you keep going, like I said, I didn't even realize how much stuff was coming my way and how much just juggling I was doing until I read it back, because I was juggling and getting it done. And you can do that too. I know there are people out here going through grief. I know there are people out here. That must be the next book. The Only Way Out is Through. That's resonating with y'all. And I didn't make that up, but that is something I will always tell myself. I tell people that are in my life when they're going through something and they're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. I'm like, the only way out is through. Keep going. Just keep moving. Don't stop and sit in it. Keep moving and you'll be out of it. It can't rain always. And so, I realized that what we went through was unique because not really, because actually there was so much death during the period of time that we've been in this healing process, because this happened in 2019 and then COVID hit in 2020 and 2021 was what it was, and 2022, 23. There's been a lot of loss and there's been a lot of pain. There's been a lot of sadness and there's been a lot of hurt. And the world has just been altered since 2020. So everybody went through a period of mourning and transition of our life before, when we had no idea about a COVID and nobody even owned a mask, right? We've all been changed forever after COVID. And this is something that happened before COVID. And then we got plunged into isolation in the middle of grieving. All the circle that was around us had to go shelter in place at home. And we had to figure it out. So as a mother, my children were 12 and 15. I could go nuts with the fact that my surroundings are now grieving teenagers, or we can figure out how we can use this opportunity to heal, because we are cocooned together and we're going through something unique that we lost, husband and father in our household. He was important to so many people, but he lived here. He was a daily presence here. And so it allowed us, our unique relationship, a time to work through that together. And I think my children are better off because of it. And I'm grateful in hindsight for COVID. And when you read the story, you'll see why. It's not a long story. I made it to 112 pages, I think. And it wore me out to get that much out. It's 12 chapters with a epilogue on grief, where I just offer you some suggestions on ways to work through grief. I see driven fortitude. You're saying here, dealing with delayed grief of my best friend taking her life last year. Military has me in mandatory PHP. Listen, take that and deal with it in the best way you can. Hopefully, there's something I say in the book that will help you. This is why this has to happen. Like I said, I'm private. My husband wouldn't wouldn't have, was a private person, but being quiet doesn't serve any purpose. Um, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Mental health is health. Um, somebody says they can't hear me. Is that everybody can't hear me, or one person can't hear me? Mental health is health, just like cancer, depression, anxiety, grief, um, even bipolar, schizophrenia, the more elevated um, concerns. So you can try to go out and come back in and see if that is a problem, if that helps. Or you can also go to my YouTube, Attorney Dorna Taylor, and you can watch it there. All of that is health, just like cancer, diabetes. Those are illnesses that cause people to, in some instances, take their life. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. And it's nothing to hide and be ashamed of. And that's a lesson that, somebody needs to, okay, y'all can hear me, thank you. That's a lesson that somebody needs to hear. You did what you needed to do on your road to healing. Yes, I did. Look, if you would ask me a month ago, are you writing a book? No. And now I'm done. Yes, this is being recorded, and this will always be up on the page, and it will be on my YouTube page. Not recorded, but it's live, and you can watch it back anytime. Chapman, go do what you got to do. So when I started telling people that I was writing the book, and I didn't even say like publicly what the book was about because I didn't know. I was writing, like I said, my story, and my editor told me, rightfully so, that my story may be another book, my whole story. And I also was having the, imposter syndrome that I never have really. But I was like, who cares about my life story? Like, I'm 50 years old. I'm not 80. I'm not, I'm not finished living. So why am I doing my life story right now? And it turned out that I was wrong and right at the same time. My son wants to know if the music is too loud, so I'm just looking down to send him a message that it's not. I was right and I was wrong at the same time, because as I started honing the story into thank you, Ebony, into the process of getting through the grief. And I'm not implying that I'm done grieving. I'm just at a point that I know I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay, and my children are gonna be okay. Getting through that and talking to people about what I was writing about, they start opening up to me and sharing their story. And I figured out quickly that everybody is going through something, everybody's going through something really heavy. And some of us are more affected than others. Some of us have a deep pain that's deep inside and you can't even feel it. You're just busy. That's how I was. And some of us have it right under the surface and one thing, and we're on the edge. And most or all of us just need somebody to talk to and listen. So many of us are missing a loved one, a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, wife, husband, best friend. All of that is grief. And I can't identify with someone who's lost a child. I can't even imagine. And most of you have said to me, and I don't get offended by this, but they're like, I cannot imagine my husband dying. Hopefully you don't have to. Hopefully I don't have to experience losing a child. I just can't even hardly say that out loud, right? So what it ends up being the common thread, though, is everybody is grieving something. There's someone that's important to us that's gone on, or someone that still here and we trusted but betrayed our trust and we've lost that relationship, or we've been disappointed severely by something and someone, or we're disappointed in ourselves. We've got something that's got us feeling like we're not good enough, or we're not worth it, or we're not needed. I pray that this book gets into your hands because you are needed and you are wanted and you are necessary. And I want to show you what happens to the family that you leave behind if you leave. That is what I think the reason for me telling this story is. for the people who are grieving and don't know how to move through it because they're busy, like I was. I'm not judging. They're busy making sure everybody else is okay. That's what I do. I do as well. And I never dealt with my stuff. I lost a whole husband. um, and then there are people who are thinking about taking their life, and they don't feel like they are needed, and they feel like if they leave, everybody else will be okay. And that's not true. But if they stay and fight, them and everybody will be okay. Because when you feel like you're not valuable, um, you feel like your absences are going to be a blessing to everybody. And that's not the case. But you're not thinking clearly because you're not well, or you're stressed, or like someone's saying in the group, that's me right now on edge. I really need to release this stuff. So look in the book, but I'm not, like I said, this is not about the book. I had to put it down in the book because I can't sit here and talk for 6 hours. So that's why it's in a book. I know when people go on TV and they're like, read the book, and they're trying to sell the book is $14 for the ebook. The paperback is 19 and the hard copy is 27, I think. I'm not saying read the book because of that. I'm saying read the book because I had a chance to think it through and put down a series of things that I think will be helpful now that I have the clarity on this side of yesterday, to look at it. And, Teresita, I hope that you get a chance to read it because you're in the beginning stages of losing your spouse and caring for, children at the same time. It's a challenge. And you can do it. I did it. You can do it. I understood what you meant, Chakma. I didn't mean to imply that you were on the edge of that to that extent. But if someone is, it's okay. That's the message I want to leave. That if someone is suicidal, that's okay. You don't have to apologize for that, and that's not the way to solve the problem. That's going to create a pile of problems for. It's just going to add more problems. And I don't want to say it in a way that makes it say you should think about everybody else, but you should give everybody else the chance to let you know how much they need you is more, and not need you in a way that you have to do something or there's a demand on you. They need your presence. They love you. You're valuable to them. You have to realize that you're important to the people in your life, and that your presence is a present, and that giving up is not the answer. So in the prologue, I'm sorry, the epilogue to the book, Mary, I thank God you made it through as well. Very thankful. In the epilogue, I just go through things like this where things that, and again, I'm no expert. I start the chapter. I have this book memorized. I've read it so many times. And I've lived it. And I'm going to read it again tonight because I'm just certain there's a typo in there that I've missed, and I'm not going to see it till I'm holding the physical book in my hand on the screen. So I say I'm not an expert. I'm not a grief counselor, but I've been through this stuff. And here's what, and I have all these people that say, you're so strong. You're so strong. And it's not that I'm strong. It's that I didn't have a choice but to be strong. And when you don't have a choice, you do what you got to do, right? And you do what you know how to do, which is be a good mother, be a good, family member to the rest of the family. And sometimes you neglect yourself in that, and that's what I did. Strong is not always a compliment. I don't take it as a criticism, but it was to my detriment that I was operating in the way that I did a lot of times. And I realized that when I wrote this book. So that's the reason I'm saying when you read this, you'll see yourself, not in everything that happened to me, because so much stuff happened that I pray all this stuff didn't happen to everybody else, but you'll see yourself in a situation that I've been in, and you'll say, okay, here's a strategy she used. And then at the end of the book, I try to bring it all together by giving you a bunch of strategies and methods to work through a dark time, if that's where you are, or a mental break, if that's where you are, or just overwhelming grief of loss of a loved one or a pet or whatever is stressing you and making you feel like there's a cloud over your head. There's some recommendations I make in there. I am also, once I get, I talk about that. Women are expected to be strong, and that's not healthy. And men are expected not to be weak and not to cry, and that's not healthy either. We have to give each other permission to let the walls down. And listen, I told y'all before, my line name from when I pledged to sorority was Fortress. I have walls up. I am a wall up type of chick. I know it. I claim it. It is what it is. I've been like that since I was at least 18 when they named me that. And I'm a private person, and I put my business in on these pages to help somebody. So if the example I'm setting is to say you can be strong, but you don't have to always look strong, or you can let people understand what happens behind the curtain when you're the strong one, so that they understand what that means, and maybe they can take some of that if they need it, or they can make sure they don't model some of it. Everything I did wasn't something that someone should imitate, because some of it was not healthy for me. But on the other side of it, and when I say that, I don't mean like I was doing crack, but I was compartmentalizing things and keeping busy and not thinking about what I needed to work on in my grief. And so I delayed myself being able to move through the grief because I refused myself the opportunity to go through it. I was trying to go around it. And instead of going through it, I was trying to leapfrog over it. And I have to go through it. And I have, and I probably will always be going through some level of it. So your comments are, that I'm so tired of being superwoman. It's overwhelming. I understand that completely. And what this book will hopefully do is provide a tool for us to have, talks like this, but where I'm not the only one talking, and we can share in a Zoom, in a private setting, or either in person, where you can lay some stuff down. One of the most impactful things I remembered in my telling the story, and I tell the story in a timeline so you can see the not that it was not a straight line to wherever me and my children are going to end up, which is, I think, in a great place. I think we're in a great place now. But we can. One of the things that really impacted me was somebody said something to me that allowed me to just cry. It gave me permission, and I just left some stuff. I sat everything down and I stopped carrying it for just a little while, and cried. And I hadn't before because I hadn't felt like I had the time, or that someone would be afraid or scared or worried about me. Um, So when I say I didn't do things in a healthy way, that's what I mean. I didn't process my grief in a timely, in a I won't say a timely fashion, because there's no timeline. It's not linear, but I didn't process my grief when it came up. I pushed it down. And then when it came back, I pushed it down. But it's going to always come back. That's what I had to learn. It's always there unless you deal with it. And so I've dealt with it. Writing this book is dealing with it. I can leave a lot of it there. Everybody's going to know everything I've said there. I don't have to carry it. Everybody can have some of it. Here you go. Here's some of my crazy, take some and go. Yeah, you don't want anybody to think you're crazy. You just want to cry. That's it. Yeah, I get that. And that may not sound like it makes sense to someone who hasn't lost a spouse, but you don't want people to think you've gone crazy, but you're afraid that if you start crying, you're not going to stop, or it's going to sound like you're dying. because it's from so deep inside. And so you think about others and you don't even go there. And that's not healthy. And that's the type of thing I did. But now I've literally written 112 pages of my emotions and my weaknesses and my strengths, because I need people to understand that for every strength, as strong as I am, I have to be allowed to be weak too. That's all. And when you're the strong one, and you'll see this, and I left a lot of this out because I was telling my story and not other people's story, but I had people asking me for stuff 2 days after my husband passed away. I had people asking me to look at a contract, or can I come live with you? Or can you, so-and-so got a DUI, can you call them? My husband hadn't even been buried, and I had people calling me, asking me to do things for them because I'm the strong one. And the emotions that are coming up in me right now as I'm saying that tell me that I'm still working on that. I've not resolved that anger from that, because I'm angry about that. But that's what you get when people just say, you're so strong. Hey, I know the funeral is Monday, but can you, you know, so I'll keep working on that because obviously that's bringing up something for me still. But yeah, people are disrespectful. But another thing I certainly hope that comes out of this is people understanding what they sound like to the grieving person, how they sound when they say, and they mean well, let me know if there's anything I can do. Okay, so you want me to stop, call you, and hope you answer affirmatively instead of you maybe thinking about what I might need. If you really want to help me, do it. Because I don't know what I need. I don't know what today is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know I don't know when I last slept. I don't know when I last ate. I don't know what I need you to do. Right? But you don't mean any harm when you say, let me know if there's anything I can do. That's just putting one more responsibility on the grieving person. So maybe we can think about our language and what we say. And maybe we could say something like, hey, I brought over lunch. You need to eat. Because I also had those people in my life who showed up with food, who sent food to my door, who showed up and said, let me comb your hair, get in the car, we need to go take care of so-and-so. I know you forgot, and so I'm just gonna take you over there. Or I know you don't wanna do this, but I'm going with you and I'll hold your hand. Not let me know if there's anything I can do. Hey, are you busy? Because I need to go over to the medical examiner and identify my husband's body about 2:30. Can you take me? Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna do that. So if the book can help people to think about how you can better support people who are grieving, that will be an accomplishment. If the book can help people understand the value of the people that show up at your door with food and make you eat because you haven't, that will be, good. Um, and then I'm going to also create a workbook because as I was writing this, I was coming up with stuff that, we could do in a study group or a private group on Zoom, or just work through stuff. Because again, I'm not a grief counselor. I don't even want all this energy on me, but I don't have a choice, because once I said I was, going to do this, God put all these people in front of me who needed help. And that wasn't coincidental. And so let's do it. I need help. Y'all need help. Let's help each other. Let's work through this stuff. And y'all are edifying that by what you're saying in these comments. I see people praying for each other, helping each other, people saying they really needed this. I am going to hold to, I wish I could just release it right now, but there are some deadlines that Amazon needed. I met those deadlines today. That's why I'm talking about this today, to be able to release it next week on Wednesday, which, like I said, would have been William and I's 20th anniversary. The ebook I will release then as well. If I don't break and release it earlier, because I have control over that, and I see the people are getting it as I'm on here. I'm seeing the emails of the people buying it now on pre-order, and that's this is good, because we're gonna really get somewhere. We're really gonna have a workbook to go with it, and us work through some practices and some tools. I did a lot of therapy, y'all, a lot. Somebody already paid for 2 books. Wow. Okay. I love it. Let me see who that was. I hope you're gonna gift one to somebody who needs um, inspiration. Um, you mentioned before going to the beach or water. Are you still going? I absolutely am. Um, what I am going to do is release this book on the 18th. Probably come on here and sit with you guys, and after some of you have read it, it's about an hour and a half read. It's not a long read. I didn't want it to be like a novel. Plus, I just didn't have it in me. Um, and um, and we can talk. Um, I've let a few people read it, just as screening it, and they cried. They said it was impactful, like they could feel it in their chest. A day later, they were still feeling the impact of, oh my God, I had no idea. And I believe a lot of you will feel that way at the end of this. And so I want to be here. And I need to do it too. I need to, release it. So maybe we'll do it on Zoom so we can really get real. I don't necessarily want to be on my Facebook page, having you guys talk and me talking. Even though I've written a whole freaking book telling you all my business, I'm still private. Um, so we'll figure it out. But I may release, for the people that are doing these pre-orders, I'm probably going to break and release it early, because I just feel like, what's the point? I have a point in the 18th. It's an anniversary present to my husband, right? But if there are people on here telling me I'm going through it, I need some inspiration, I don't really know if I feel comfortable waiting a week for formality if you need some inspiration, and I feel like I have some for you. So I'll deal with that, and I'll pray on that. For the people that have bought this, because it's rolling, like I'm seeing the pre-orders come in as I'm talking to you guys. And it's not y'all, it's other people. So stick to the point. We see you on Zoom. Okay, I like that. Vika, I'm still dealing with losing my mother because my siblings looked at me as being the strong one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if like I said, if this gives people an opportunity to look at what the strong one needs, then the strong one needs people too. The strong one needs support too. We can wait. Your date is sentimental and a great way to honor him. We'll Zoom it out. Okay. So I'll work on setting up that Zoom so we can get real. And it only takes you about an hour to read it. So I would love if people have had a chance to read it before we come on, so that because it reads like a story. I'm not just saying this because it's something I wrote, but my editor was like, you have a voice, like you write, you're an author, like you write like an author. I'm a songwriter. So I write like a song. And so it's very visual. The people that have read it also said it's very visual. You can see and smell and taste the scenery, the way I'm describing things. And so you're kind of like in my shoes and experiencing it, and it impacts you in the way that I'm impacted now on the other side of it, when I was too busy to be impacted while I was going through it. I do have a request of my friends and people that know me. Please do not call me and say, girl, why didn't you tell me all this was going on? Telling you now. Okay, that's not going to serve me at all. It's not going to serve you. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is not going to do a damn thing. So please don't do that to me. Um, don't take it personally if I didn't tell you all this was going on. Don't don't try to hold it against me for not telling you. Um, I'm telling you now. Um, that's my disclaimer for people that know me in real life. Um, Yeah. So Do What You Know How to Do is the name of the book. I spoke about it on a stage in Miami with the Free Hive. There's a couple of Free Hive shout outs in the book as well. And when I spoke about what happened to us and I shared the story of Do What You Know How to Do, um, it wasn't, I didn't intend to say everything that I said. I didn't mean to give as much up as I gave, but I did, and it saved someone's life. Um, it saved someone's life, literally, who came up to me and said that, not immediately, but made it her business to make sure I knew that that message saved her life. And it took me a while to understand what that meant and how that happened, but I get it now. And I know that it can save other people's lives. And that's a big sentence. Like that sounds, I'm not a preacher, I'm a lawyer. But to know that you have something that you walked through and God brought you through, and it can save somebody else, and you're being selfish or prideful, it doesn't work like that. So I did what I knew how to do. I know how to write. I know how to read. I know how to write songs. Um, and so um, I wrote it, and I think it's the best I could do with it. I'm proud of it. I'm comfortable with it. I'm releasing everything in it to the public. And when I say the public, I mean like telling people my business. It's y'all, that's deep for me. Yo, listen, that is a big deal for me. And I'm okay with it because if it helps somebody, then cool. Um, and y'all are just like adding to the confirmation. Like once I said I was going to do this, all these confirmations came. Somebody online in a lawyer doctor group that we have called White Coats and Gavels, right? Fortress, yep. You know me, Tanya. Dion, you know me from those days in college, right? When I got that name, and I'm still that same wall. This lady, a doctor on there, no, a lawyer on there said that her sister's husband had just drowned in the ocean when they were swimming, and she was just a wreck. And is there anybody that has been through this that can talk to her? This was the day after I made up my mind to do this book on this topic. Because I was getting ready to give y'all a book of like celebrity stories, and my editor was like, "No, ma'am, that's not the story. We do that later." Um, so I offered myself to the lady. Her sister called, and we walked through her first 3 days of losing her husband. And that was the first time the lady was able to eat after we hung up the phone. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. So that was confirmation. Then I went to New York, and I came across a person who I love and respect, and was sharing with them about the book, and they started crying. There's something just under the surface, that it resonated with. And I could go on and on and on. Like everybody that I told had a visceral reaction to needing to know that I had been there too, or that they weren't alone. And it wouldn't even be words, they would just start crying. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, I get it. I understand. I understand. And I wrote it. The first 4 chapters, y'all, I had to dictate it. I couldn't even type it fast enough. I just had to dictate it. That's how much, when I made up my mind to get out of my own way and do what I knew how to do, it just flowed. God just gave me the voice. And then, of course, when I finished it, then I started having all this self doubt, right? Not self doubt, because I'm not a self doubt type person, but like, I'm not doing this. I am not doing this. Nope. I know I can help somebody another way. This is not going to happen. And my editor said, okay, let 2 people read it, or let somebody else read it because we're too close to it. I let 2 people read it, and they were speechless. They were in tears. They were just reaffirming for me that I had to let this happen because it's going to bless somebody. Now, maybe they know what to say to get me off my butt by saying you're going to bless somebody. Well, how am I going to turn my back on that, right? But at this point, I'm convinced it's going to bless somebody. And I don't even have to know who the somebody is, and I don't even um, care to have them raise their hand and say me, right? I care that they know that I see them and hear them, and somebody somewhere is there for them or has been there and got through it. Um, we didn't, we stumbled, but we didn't fall. My kids are thriving. I'm thriving. I'm back like I was before. Through a pandemic, through my parents getting COVID, my mother hospitalized for 2 weeks. My children got COVID. I got COVID. I mean, y'all, when y'all read this thing, I'm not gonna tell it because I want you to like ride the wave. But God, God didn't bring me through all that for me to be stingy with the cliff notes. That's all. So, um, I'm an author. That's weird. That's weird, but okay. And I definitely haven't written everything that I have to write in this book because, like I said, we concentrated this book to make it be impactful for somebody who's suicidal or who is um, grieving and doesn't know how to get out of that sunken place of sorrow. Or I saw someone mention earlier for people who are disabled and unable to, um, they've lost the life they had. They're still living, but they've lost a lot of the life they had. I lost a lot of the life I had, a lot of it, and I've had to find the joy in what I do have, and I've even when people thought I was crazy, I would claw my way to what made me happy. If that was going on a cruise by myself a month after my husband died, then damn it, that's what I'm going to do, right? And that's what that looks like. Finding your happy, finding your new normal. Someone asked earlier, I mentioned that I was trying to be on the water. And Rashid, I'm going to come back to your comment because it deserves attention or time, not attention, but time. I'm I was I went on. I've gone on 2 cruises. Both times I had received some news that just shook me to my core, and I needed to be alone with the water. And so the first one was after William died. There was another one last summer, and I'm going on a cruise the week after this comes out, a few days after this comes out. Um, and I couldn't find any cruise that I wanted to go on that was going to be the week of, and my daughter's going to come home that weekend from college for a winter break, so I obviously didn't want to miss her because again, I put people in front of me at all times. But it worked out when I decided to write this and release it on that date. I'll be here to be able to share with you guys, and we can get on Zoom and cry. Or if you guys are local, we can meet. I don't care. We can do whatever we need to do. I don't want people flying in on a Wednesday night, but you know, if there's a group that's local and we can meet, do a reading. I don't know if I can put all that together in a week, but because I do still have clients and a lot of you on here, and I'm gonna get your things done now that I'm done with this. But probably we'll just do Zoom for next week and share and support each other. Maybe we can find some people that are local to each other and you can be there for each other. Maybe we can build some bonds that help us because we're on here always learning and trying to grow our businesses and our mindset. But sometimes you just need to let your heart rest somewhere. I have people that I can call or even don't even have to call them that'll show up over here if I'm not looking right or acting right, if I don't answer the phone quick enough. I'm that person for some people, and everybody doesn't have that. And maybe we can create that at this table, um, where everybody has somebody who is checking on them because it's a lot. People are going through a lot. Rashida, my condolences. Um, your soul is hurting. I understand that. and maybe we can help you. And I'm sure you have people that can help you as well. Um, and maybe something I say in the book is going to, I know y'all are saying stick to the Wednesday, but I don't know, I might break. And because I just want people to have this. I just want people to have this. Because there's so much pain. I mean, people are running around smiling and grinning. they're in pain. We're in pain. And all you need to do is know that somebody else is there with you. If I was on here tonight talking about trademarks, y'all would be talking about that, but still be in just as much pain as you're in that you're sharing about. Right? I was in full heartbreak working on stuff for clients because I didn't think they were there for me. Because they showed me by saying, "Hey, I know your husband just died, but can you review this?" You don't give a shit about me. Excuse me, you don't care about me. And that's fine. I have enough people that do. That I don't need you to. I will be teaching and working through my pain. Yeah, I did. I did and I do. But these tears aren't from pain. These tears are from like, thank you, God, for allowing me to complete this. I don't know how to explain it, but when I used to write songs, I would sit down and the song would just come. If I didn't have the song in an hour, I wasn't going to ever have the song. And the book did the same thing. When I sat down to type, it was just like the cat on the meme. And then I couldn't type fast enough, and I had to just recite it. Um, that's a God thing. And that's all that stuff I've been carrying around. I literally feel lighter. I am lighter. I've lost 44 pounds at last count. I feel lighter. I look better. I am better. I'm healthier. My health, I started letting my health go. Blood sugar and blood pressure and everything was going haywire because I'm carrying all this stuff, And now all that's perfectly normal. And I'm older than I was then. I was like 48 with all kind of blood pressure and blood sugar issues. And now I'm 50 and none of that. And there are people out there just like that with all kind of illnesses. They're stress related. In the workbook, I'm working on something with a company now to be able to talk you guys through vitamin regimen. I have my vitamins here. I take them, you know, there's a whole bag of right here. I take them. It helps me stay strong, my brain and my body. And there's vitamins that help with depression. You don't have to get on medication. You can. I'm not a doctor. I'm not knocking doctors. But there's vitamins that help. There's my daughter and I, we went to chiropractic for a year. That relieved a lot of stress out of her body. She carried hers in her body to the point that her spine was literally shaped like an S, and we didn't even know it. Now it's straight. And her ability to cope with stress, she was having crying spells and just so much. And now that she's got her body in alignment, she's taking her vitamins, she's eating well, she's able to handle her stress. She called me yesterday, y'all. This girl is 19 and college freshman, planning her classes for her second semester. And she called me, and the first thing she said was, "How important is it for me to protect my peace?" And I said, "It's everything. What's the topic?" It's 100% the point. What's the topic? And the topic was her picking her schedule. And she was picking a schedule that either could be 8 o'clock in the morning in a state that she's not from and never lived a winter through, getting ready to go into, trying to get to this class to be able to excel and be accelerated, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon when it's warmer, at least daytime outside. And maybe she'll have to take 2 classes instead of that one because it's not a super class. We decided on the one class that's going to be in the afternoon so that she can protect her peace. And I love that she had that language, and that's because we worked on it. And again, I tell my story in this book. I don't tell my children's story. I don't tell my in-laws story. I don't tell anybody's story but mine. So a lot of these things won't be in this book per se, because I just didn't feel like it was my right to tell other people's versions of their story or my version of other people's stories. So I'm telling my story. But my children are, integral to my story. My story exists because of them. Everything I did, you'll see when you read it, was because of them. I was all they have left as a parent. And yeah, there's a village, but for those of you who've lost a parent, the other parent becomes that much more important to you. And I have thank God I've not lost a parent. I don't even know what they've gone through. I'm 50 and I haven't gone through something that my son went through at 12. I haven't even had to experience that, and I'm so grateful. But I had to try to raise him. I'm trying to raise him through something that I haven't even walked. I'm trying to raise a young man who's now 16 into a grown man, and I'm a woman. So the story just keeps on, going. And but for me to put this part on paper and put it down and leave it there, like Tanya just said, the peace that passes all understanding is priceless. Okay, so I'm sorry, Tanya. No, I said Tanya, but this, so I have closed caption on my screen and it said Tanya. I'm like, no, I know your name is Tanya. I know you. Y'all, I'm going to go. I'm going to put together a Zoom link for us for next week so that we can dig in. If you have an opportunity to get the book, right now it's available in ebook for pre-order. DoWhatYouKnowHowToDo.com. That's a mouthful. You can also just go to my page where I posted the link in the comments to the picture that I posted of the book. I'm doing this all independently. I've never done any of this before. I designed the cover. I did the typesetting. I did made the print copy. Like, I'm learning a lot in this process. And what I didn't do was do my own copy editing. I'm so thankful to my editor, Nika Jeter, who has just been, I don't know what I would have been writing if it wasn't for her, guiding me and giving me the reassurance that this is really going to be a movement, and not for money or fortune or anything, but for what you guys have been doing here in these comments tonight. This is the movement I'm looking for. Every time I see on the screen, I need this, I needed this, I needed this, this was for me. That's the movement I'm looking for. I'm looking for the people that this is touching. Not for any reason except that I know I need it. And so I know what it feels like to need encouragement and to receive it, because I receive encouragement. I'm never left alone with nobody to turn to, and I'm grateful. I'm never alone with nobody to turn to. I can go down a list of people I can turn to, and that means so much to me. But I know that everybody doesn't have that. And so if I can be that, and I have this experience that I went through, then this is where I'm supposed to be with it. See, this, you don't know how much this helps, and congratulations on your book, but I do know how much it helps, because I know what I needed. I know the people that called me and the widows that I spoke with, who understood without me having to say basic things that nobody thinks about, like, my lover is gone. Just let that settle for a minute. Just like that. I'm single. I've been married for 16 years. What do you mean I'm single? Or if it's your parent, or even if it's your remaining parent, I'm orphan. Like, these are the things that go through your head of who it defines you as when someone you love dies, and how it changes who you are, because it changes who you are. I had a hard time, I still have a hard time calling myself a single mother, because I don't think of myself as a single mother. I call myself a solo mom, if anything. But what does that mean? Nothing. Just, you know, I never visualized that I would be a single mother. So, hey, cuz, very much needed and appreciated. Thank you. And Monica, I see you saying, man, I can hear that in your voice. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I hope, oh, this is what I was getting ready to say. The pre-orders for the ebook, if you want to just get the instant download and read it, it's a short, it's a 112 page, hour and a half long read. If you just want to get them, get the story, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm doing that on a website that I'm hosting. At dowhatyouknowhowtodo.com, and you can pre-order it now, and then I will send it out on midnight Tuesday night. So Wednesday you'll have it, so that hopefully people have read it by the time we get together on Zoom, so that we can talk through some of the things. Because the two people that read it, they literally just went like, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe when this happened." And girl, okay, so when this happened, so I want us to be able to do that, and that hopefully be able to bless you guys with some of the situations that I went through that you wouldn't think I would go through. When you look at me and you look at my lifestyle, you wouldn't think that some of the things that happened did, because I keep it moving and I keep it. I know how to make things look good, even when they don't. I put it like that. Um, and the hardback and the paperback are going to be sold on Amazon. The link should be live in the next couple of days if you'd like to pre-order your hard copy, um, hardcover or paperback version of Do What You Know How to Do. Those will be on Amazon.com. I'll let them handle all that shipping. But there have been people that, and this still boggles my mind, there have been people that have asked me for autograph copies. So I'm also, if you buy the ebook from my website here, you'll see an opportunity to buy the autograph copy as well. And then those will be sent probably by next Friday. They'll be shipped out so that I have an opportunity to get them, sign them, and get them out to you. So, there's that. That's a skill you need to teach, how to make it look good when it ain't. Oh, girl, that's like the first tool in my tool chest. That's my professional tool. I use that on my clients to fix up their lives, but I use it on me these past 4 years. So if I can teach it, I will. But it's so much of who I am, I don't even know when I'm doing it. I just do it. So, I'll try to see if I can identify it and put it into something I can teach. Yeah. So that's it. I know there's some people confused. Like, I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble tomorrow. Don't do that. They're not gonna have anything that I wrote in there. You can go get Jada's book and figure out why they've been separated for 7 years and why she thinks we care. But the ebook is available for pre-order now. Everything is coming out on next Wednesday, the 18th of October, our 20th anniversary. You can pre-order the ebook now, and you will get the download at midnight on Wednesday of next week. You can read it. If you want to get a physical book, you can buy those on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Those links are not live yet. They will be. This book will be available next week. But I was asked when I said I was writing a book, and y'all are so great because y'all didn't even know what I was writing, and y'all were like, "Take my money. I want to buy the pre-order." And I'm like, "Let me write the book first, because I don't I don't even you can't even price something if you haven't finished it." So, um, I'm doing these pre-orders because I was asked to, and I think it's wonderful because it's right on the time that I need it, and the week that I know this is coming out, and I'm like, y'all are about to know all my junk, like all my business. Oh my God. But if I'm seeing like the energy and the enthusiasm from you guys, that keeps me from going too far into my head, and I can stay on somebody needs this. That's the pre-orders serve that purpose. Is it allows me to say this is needed, this is being received. By Jada. Jada Pinkett's book, Jada Pinkett Smith. Her book comes out the day before mine, October 17th. It's probably 4 times as long as mine. And, I'm gonna leave that alone. But I made a post earlier, don't worry about Jada's book. just stay tuned. I got something for you to read that's going to be edifying and not like, girl, bye. So I appreciate y'all. And I hope that something was said tonight that maybe lifted a little bit of a load off of somebody that came on here with one, not knowing what I was going to be talking about. And I appreciate the fact that y'all showed up, not knowing what I was going to talk about. That means something to me. And I appreciate the fact that if I had been talking about something business related, you would have walked through it with me, even carrying what you're carrying. That some of you were able to lay your burdens down here tonight, and I hope you feel better and lighter. And my mom, great sharing session tonight. I thank God for His guidance. Thank you, and I thank God for you and my daddy, because y'all held me down. So. All right, so I think we got it. I'll drop some links as the links come live on Amazon for the pre-orders of the book. I'll drop the links, and y'all know I'm not a salesperson, but I'm not selling to be selling this. I think y'all get it. So I really just want y'all to have read it when we come back next Wednesday, so that we can, dive into it. Look, it's going to be my anniversary. I'm gonna need y'all to get me through it, yeah, I need y'all next Wednesday. So let's get this done so we can read the book together, or read the book, and maybe I'll do some readings from it on the Zoom. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it. So try to get your hands on it between now and then. You're probably going to have to read the ebook to have read it by Wednesday. I don't really know if Amazon's going to have them in your hands on Wednesday or not. I just really don't know, but they have what they need from me. So hopefully they can pull it off. And we'll visit on Monday or so and see how it's going with Amazon, and see if they'll be here in time, or if I really need to push the ebook. Maybe give y'all a code, a discount for the seat at the table people. It's $14.99, but maybe if somebody needs it to be a little less to be able to get it, let's do that. Whatever we need to do. So my signal is coming and going with this rain, so that's a sign from God to shut up, stop talking. And I just appreciate you guys. And everybody needs to show Perot that they bought the book before they get a Zoom link. Okay, Sheila, you're officially in charge of handling that for me, because I don't know how to do that. But that's a wonderful idea. That way we don't have people, proof, show proof. And the reason we're doing it on Zoom is so we can be open and honest and share. And I don't want people in the Zoom that are just there to listen and be nosy. I want people that are coming that have been impacted by the book and have something they need to share, or want to hear more about how I processed the whatever moment that happened in the book. I want it to be a therapy session for those of us who know the story and can grow from each other. So that's why that is something I'm emphasizing. So yes, that's what I will do. When I send out the ebooks, I will send out the Zoom link. You won't get one without the other. And if you don't have the ebook, you won't get the Zoom link. Boom, there you go. All righty. Thank you, Sheila. You don't have a job anymore. I'll take care of that. So, all right, folks, I'm rambling, and it's late. So, and I have some client work to catch up on. I have some work to do. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next week, if not before. Okay? Thank you. Good night.